Hey everyone, today we are going to go over a book very quickly, which is known as The Four Agreements by Miguel. And in this book, they're basically, as the title of the book says, there are four agreements that you need to make to yourself to live a more peaceful and a more better life. And this is a very short book, 90 pages, but still, I'm gonna summarize this book even more. And you can use these agreements in your day-to-day life to make your life more easier, more better, look at it in a more positive angle. So we are gonna start off with the very first agreement. The very first agreement out of all four agreements is to be impeccable with your word. Even though it sounds very simple, very easy, it is actually one of the hardest out of the four. And it's a really huge one, as it can literally change your life. We're going to first understand the power of words. Words aren't just sounds, they're powerful. They shape your beliefs, your dreams, and they shape the entire world as well. When you think about it, Adolf Hitler, during the World War, he convinced millions of people to follow fear and violence just because of a speech that he gave. That's how strong words can be. Words are like seeds. If you plant fear, fear grows. If you plant love, love grows. That's why we have to be very careful with what we say to others and especially to ourselves. Words can hurt a lot of people, even your own loved ones, such as your parents or your children. Now here's an example of a mother and a daughter. The daughter is singing in the house, and the mom comes home stressed from work, and she tells the girl to shut up and that her voice is ugly just because she's annoyed with her own work. And the daughter believes it, and she stops singing for the rest of her life. That's how one's carelessness with words can become a spell for other people, and even for themselves. When we repeat stuff to ourselves, we tend to believe those things, and in the future we tend to actually follow by those words. Psychology even has a name for this, called self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe something negative about yourself, you end up living it. So if you're just standing, or like you're just sitting somewhere and you're imagining that how you're ugly, how you're not confident enough, how your voice is weird, how you look weird, how other people are, you will tend to believe them, and because you're believing them, you will end up to be that type of person even though you are not. So you will quite literally end up being the person you're not, just because you keep rephrasing those words and those beliefs in your head. Now we're going to go on to gossip, which is known as black magic as some sort. Gossip is the worst misuse of words. It's like a computer virus. One negative comment about someone can spread, change how people see them, and destroy reputations. And most of us do it without even thinking about the consequences. Then, impeccability. Love plus truth. Being impeccable with your word means using words in the direction of truth and love. No gossip, no self-hate, no poison. If you love yourself, your words are going to reflect that. It will show that you love yourself. And when you use your words with kindness, they will surely come back to you. If you use them with hate, with negativity, that will also come back to you. It is not a one-way thing. You use your words nice, they'll come back to you nicely. You use your words badly, they'll come back to you exactly the same way that you used them. So, here's the takeaway. Your word is magic. Use it to build, not to destroy. Start with yourself. Stop saying, I'm ugly, I'm stupid, I'll never be good enough. Instead, plant seeds of love and positivity. Tell yourself that you are worthy. Tell yourself that I am capable, I am enough. And you will start to believe it, and you will become it. This is quite literally called manifestation. When you do this over and over and over again, you shape yourself into being that person. If you master just this one agreement, the first agreement, which is to be impeccable with your word, you can live with more joy, peace, and freedom. Even if the world around you feels like a chaos, you will still live in peace. And that's the power of being impeccable with your own word. Now let's talk about the second agreement, which is to not take anything personally. And I mean literally anything. The truth is, most of the pain we feel in life doesn't come from what happens, but from the meaning that we attach to it. Think about it. Someone calls you stupid, instantly you feel hurt. But why? You don't get hurt because of the word itself. You get hurt because a part of you believes it might be true. You take it personally, and now their poison has become your poison. But here's the key. What people say or do is never truly about you. It's about them. It's about their fears, their beliefs, their mood, their own inner story and insecurities. Psychologists call this projection. If someone is angry inside, they'll throw anger at others. If they feel insecure, they'll put people down. You just happen to be the closest target. Now here's an example. There are two people and they see you walking down the street. One says that you look amazing today. They compliment you, give you something positive. The other person gives you an insult, a negative comment, tells you that you look terrible or that you stink, you look too nerdy, something like that. Same you, but they're two opposite opinions. Which one is the truth? Neither of them. It's just their own personal filters, and if you take either one personally, whether it's the praise or the insult, you're letting someone else control your self-worth. Even if you take the praise, why are you letting someone else control your self-worth? When you stop taking things personally, you gain freedom. Insults can't cut you down, gossips don't shake you, and even praise. When you stop taking it personally, you're free to live, to love, to be yourself without fear. That's the gift of this agreement. So, the third agreement, do not make assumptions, which is basically that stop assuming things. When you don't really know anything, do not assume it by yourself. We humans, we have a habit of filling in the blanks. If we do not know something, we start to imagine it, we start to assume it. If someone doesn't text us back, we assume that they're probably upset or maybe they're ignoring us. If someone looks at us a certain way, we assume what type of mood they're in, if they're happy or if they're angry or if they're judging us. Our brain craves answers. And instead of asking questions, we just make stuff up in our brains and we treat those guesses as if they are true. And this is where most of our overthinking, our sadness, arguments, and dramas come from. They come from all these assumptions that we make. Now, here's a simple example. Imagine that you see your friend across the street and you wave and did not wave back. Instantly, your brain, it starts spinning. Are they ignoring me? Did I do something wrong? Maybe they don't like me anymore. Suddenly, you're upset over something that might not even be true. The truth, maybe they didn't see you. But your assumption created all this overthinking and pain out of nothing. And it's quite common. For example, when you text your friends and maybe they leave you unseen and they don't reply instantly. So you start thinking that you're being left out or ignored or something. That's your assumptions. But maybe they were just busy with something. Something just came up right the second that they saw your message and couldn't reply instantly. And your assumption about that just made you stressed and overthink and upset. Psychologists actually talk about this as mind reading. When we believe we know what others are thinking without any real proof. It's one of the most common thinking errors that fuels anxiety, jealousy, and conflict. This happens in most relationships. We assume our partner should know what we want. They should know what we want. They should know that, oh, on this certain day, I wanted this, or they should know that what I want to eat. They should know what I want as a gift. We assume this without ever really saying it to them. Then we get hurt when they don't meet our expectations. Or we assume that they see love or marriage the same way we do. And when reality turns out different, we feel betrayed. But the truth is, nobody can read our minds. Clear communication is the only way to avoid that trap. The solution to this is to ask questions. Stop guessing, stop assuming, don't build stories in your head. If you're unsure, ask, hey, are you upset with me? Or, this is what I want, how do you feel about it? It might feel scary, it might feel a bit uncomfortable, but it saves you from so much unnecessary pain and overthinking. When you're overthinking and you're assuming things, you start to fight with the other person and it causes just a huge, big, unnecessary mess. So isn't it better to just ask them a simple question and get the answer and be reassured? And here's something deeper. We don't only make assumptions about others, we make them about ourselves too. We assume we're capable of something without checking the reality, or we assume our love will change another person. But love doesn't work like that. You can't change someone else. You can only accept them or let them go. So imagine what life would feel like if you stopped making assumptions. No more false stories in your head, no more silent expectations that explode into fights. Instead, every relationship with friends, with strangers, partners become cleaner, clearer, and more honest. That's the heart of this agreement. Stop making assumptions. Literally about anything. Have the courage to ask. Speak more clearly about what you want. And when you do, your life becomes so much lighter, your words become powerful, and your relationships, they become more peaceful. The last agreement is always do your best. This is the glue that holds the other three agreements together. Without it, the rest stay as good ideas, but with it, they become a way of life. The fourth agreement is simple but powerful. Now, your best does not mean perfection. It doesn't mean pushing yourself to exhaustion or being flawless. It simply means giving what you honestly can give in each moment. No more, no less. And that's important because your best is never the same every day. It's different every single day. When you're well rested and happy, your best will shine. When you're sick and tired or feeling low, your best might look smaller. But it's still your best for that very moment. The key is to honor yourself and give what you can without beating yourself up for not doing more. If you're doing your best, that's enough. That is actually enough. Think about it like this. If you try to give more than your best, you'll burn out. If you give less of your best, you'll feel guilty or regretful. But when you simply do your best, you can rest easy knowing that you gave what you had. There's no room for guilt, blame, or self-punishment. Now, let's take an example, a story that a man once asked a spiritual teacher how long it would take him to reach enlightenment if he meditated 4 hours a day. The teacher said, maybe 10 years. The man then asked, what if I meditate 8 hours a day? The teacher replied, then maybe 20 years. The man was confused. The teacher explained, if you push yourself too hard, you'll miss the point of life. You're here to live, to love, and to be happy. Doing your best doesn't mean you start overdoing it. It means giving fully without harming yourself. When you do your best, life becomes lighter. You start enjoying what you do instead of just waiting for rewards. Many people work only for a paycheck, for the money, counting the days until Friday. Many students go to school counting the days until Friday. They suffer through their jobs, complain about life, feel empty inside. But if you put your heart into what you do, whether it's cooking dinner, helping someone, or working at your job, you'll enjoy the process itself. And the reward will come naturally, often bigger than what you expect. Doing your best also quiets down the inner critic in your head, the voice that judges, blames, and make you feel like you are not enough. When you know you've done your best, you can simply tell yourself that I tried and this is all that I can do. No guilt, no regret, just peace. This agreement isn't about working harder. It's not about to work and to exhaust yourself or something like that. It's about living fully. Action is what gives life meaning. You can dream and plan or imagine a better life all day, daydream about it all day long. But without action, nothing changes. Doing your best means stepping into life, creating, loving, learning, failing, trying again, and giving yourself fully to the moment. It doesn't matter if you fall, because everyone does. Everyone falls. The important part is to stand back up and try again without self-pity. Some days you'll forget these agreements. Some days you'll take things personally, and maybe you'll make assumptions, and that's okay. The point isn't to be perfect. The point is to do your best to return to them again and again. With time, it gets easier, and soon you'll see how much your life has transformed. Doing your best is also a form of love for yourself, for your body, and for life itself. You honor your body by caring for it, feeding it well, resting it, and moving it. You honor your spirit by expressing yourself honestly. Every action, from taking a shower to cooking a meal, can become a ritual of love when you do it with care and presence. And here's the truth. When you live this way, when you do your best in everything, you don't just survive life, you enjoy it. You stop living in regret, self-pity, or judgment. You feel alive, free, and connected. The first 3 agreements, being impeccable with your word, not taking anything personally, and not making assumptions, they're powerful. But they only work if you practice this one, which is to always do your best. It's not about perfection, it's about presence. It's about giving life what you can each day with love and honesty. And if you keep doing your best over and over again, something magical happens. You transform. You begin to live with more freedom, more joy, more love than you ever thought possible. So remember, don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for perfect moment. Today, just do your best. Now that we've gone through all 4 agreements, we're just going to talk about breaking your old agreements that you've done to yourself subconsciously. And this is actually also known as the Toltec path to freedom. Now, everyone talks about freedom. Countries fight for it, people march for it, we celebrate it. But here's the question. Are we really free? Not just politically, but inside. Are we free to be who we really are without fear and without any masks? Well, the truth is most of us aren't. And it's not the government or our parents or the society that is holding us back. It is ourselves. We are holding ourselves back. We carry invisible chains. We made rules, expectations, old agreements that tell us how to live, and these are basically the invisible chains. Now, think back to a child, maybe 2 or 3 years old. They're wild, they're free, they're laughing at everything. They don't have a worry in the world. They're living in the moment. They don't care about the past, they don't care about the future. They just want to play, love, express themselves without any shame. Now, that's who we were before life domesticated us. But then came the rules, the voices of the judge and the victim in our mind, telling us what's right, what's wrong, what's acceptable, what's not. Slowly, we traded our freedom for approval, seeking approval. We started living for others. We work, study, marry, and even smile, not because we want to, but because we don't want to be rejected, fear of rejection. And here's the saddest part. Most people do not even realize that they're not free. They live their whole lives trapped in this invisible cage with these invisible chains on them. But there is a way out. Now, this Toltec path thing, it teaches that the first step is awareness. You need to be aware. If you can see that you're not free, you can start breaking the old agreements that control you. They say the judge and the victim inside us are like parasites, feeding on our fear, our guilt, our anger, and every time we feel those emotions, the parasite grows stronger and stronger. Now, how do we fight back? There are three paths. First, we face our fears one by one, cutting off the parasite's head slowly, like battling a monster. Every fear we overcome makes us a little freer. Second, we starve the parasite by refusing to feed it with our negative emotions. Yes, this is really hard. It's easier said than done. But every time we choose love instead of fear, the parasite weakens. And thirdly, the most powerful but the scariest path, the initiation of death. It's not physical death, but symbolic. Killing off the old self, the old agreements, the old lies we have lived by. It takes immense courage. It's extremely hard. But when you let your old self die, the parasite dies with it. And that is when you re-find yourself. You renew yourself. You're a whole new person born. Being a Toltec doesn't mean following a religion or a leader. It means choosing to be a warrior, someone who rebels against fear and reclaims their freedom. A warrior doesn't always win, but they fight. They say no to the lies in their head and say yes to their own truth. And when you do that, when you break the old agreements and you free yourself from the parasite, from your old self, something amazing happens. You return to the childlike freedom, how you were carefree in your childhood. You return to that freedom, that joy, that wild love. You create a new dream for yourself, not a dream of fear, but a dream of heaven. And heaven isn't after death. It's here right now in this life when you're finally free to be who you are. So that basically summarizes the book, the 4 agreements, and how you're supposed to break your old agreements and start living by the new ones that you create that make you feel freer, make you feel better about yourself, make you shape yourself up into a better person, to know your own self-worth, to be more happier, and all these things. And I hope that you actually learned something from this book and apply it to your life, even if it's I know it's super hard to actually apply these into your daily life. We say it, we hear it, and we basically hear stuff like this, we say stuff, we know that it's right, but it's hard when you actually have to apply it into your lives. But remembering them, keeping them in your head, and recognizing the stuff you do, knowing that, oh, this is my old agreement. Same thing, that having awareness about yourself, about your old agreements, and trying slowly to fix it, taking baby steps would even change something at least in you and make you more freer and better in life. So thank you for watching the video, and please subscribe.